Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Stand up for your country. Well, more bad economic news today, and I feel badly reporting it. I mean, I want the best for you and for your family, and I don't believe that we are in a cycle of prosperity because I don't believe that President Biden is competent to run the country. It is really as simple as that. Yes, he has progressive people behind him that are foolishly steering him in a direction of destruction, but it comes back to us. It doesn't come back to Biden. Biden, you know, he's going to be fine no matter what happens. But working men and women across the country and their families are getting harmed. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So inflation ticked up a little bit in August from July, but it's still at an astronomical 8.3%. I think it's 40 years we haven't seen this. And just by comparison, the last year of Trump, 1.2%. So you go from 1.2% to 8.3%. And that comes off your bottom line. I mean, it means that we have 8.3% less money than we did under Trump. Even last year, it was 5.3, so we're up 3 percentage points in inflation in a year and it doesn't look like this is going to stop. So gas prices are down in most places, and that's because of the increased competition. See, as I said many times, I don't want to be repetitive. Biden brought this all on the country himself by attacking the fossil fuel industry and lessening the demand, okay, in the futures market. So if you are an investor and you're buying oil futures or coal or natural gas, and you're buying that, and then all of a sudden you have a president saying, we're going to stop that. Well, that market goes to hell, all right? And then prices go up. But the consumer still needs all the power that he or she has relied upon in the past. So that, I mean, Biden did it himself because of the global warming stuff. That's not ready, by the way. It's not ready. So anyway, no, he'll never admit it, will it? Democrats will never admit it. Media will never tell you the truth. That is the truth. So at this point, we're looking at massive, and I mean massive, price increases for food and energy. I just got my energy bill to air condition this house where I'm sitting right now. I have a studio in both of my houses. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. This is out on Long Island. I mean, looking at this bill going, and I got 72 on my air. I got 72. It's not 65 here. And I'm going, what the deuce? And this is what drives inflation. When inflation goes up, interest rates go up. When interest rates go up, housing sales slow down. And then it's just a rolling downhill avalanche of bad economic news. Stock market. I mean, if you have a 401k or a college fund or anything, you look at it, don't do anything, by the way. Just stay where you are. Don't bail. But it's horrifying. No one on Wall Street, no one in the investment community, not only in the United States, but the world over, has any confidence in Joe Biden. None. He cannot do the job. I mean, it's like the Pittsburgh Pirates saying, hey, we're going to win the World Series. No, you're not. You're not good enough. You can't win the World Series. Okay, so at this point, that should be enough to tilt the midterm elections away from the Democratic Party, because the Democrats are on board with Biden. There's a little grousing, but they believe in his insane theory that I'm going to spend my way out of inflation. That's what this Inflation Reduction Act, we're going to spend our way out of it. It's insane. That's so ridiculous. He's not going to spend his way out of it. He's going to get us deeper into it. So that should be enough. All of this today should be enough to say, sayonara, Democrats. We gave you a chance and you failed us dismally. So we don't care who's running on the Republican side. We're going to give the other party a chance. That should be what's happening, but it isn't what's happening. It's not that the Democrats are strong, they're not. And they will lose the House, and they probably will lose the Senate, but it's close in the Senate, and it's close in the opinion polls. So a study out today by the Annenberg Institute, a pinheady think tank, says that fewer than half American adults, fewer than 50%, can name the three branches of the federal government. Okay? They are the executive branch, the president, the legislative branch, the Congress, and the judicial branch, the judges, the courts. It's not hard. That's what it is. And the majority of American citizens, they don't know that. That's what's happening. They don't know, and many don't care what the deuce is going on, even when it hurts them. Even when they're paying more for everything. They don't really care why it's happening. That's frightening to me. Because those low information people, they're electing bad people. I mean, bad to the bone people. Like Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York City. Like Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago. Like Governor Pritzker in Illinois. Like Kathy Hochul, who's ahead in the polls in New York for the governorship. These are bad people. Not misguided. They can never be persuaded to do and help the working American. Never. They're prisoners of ideology or corruption or whatever. And these low information voters provide their margin of success. And that's the memo. All right, so President Biden had nothing on his schedule today. At 3 o'clock, it says he's going to celebrate the Inflation Reduction Act, which is not going to reduce inflation at all. Let me break this to you, Mr. President, with respect. Gloating is not an official event, okay? It's not. So you don't have to put it on your calendar because you're not doing anything today to advance the cause of American welfare for the folks. Nothing. However, Biden did put out a statement about the economy. Quote, today's data show more progress in bringing global inflation down in the U.S. economy. Overall prices have been essentially flat in our country these last 2 months. That is welcome news for American families with more work still to do, unquote. See, it's not Biden's fault. It's the global economy. It's Putin, even though inflation was way up before Putin went into Ukraine. Not Biden. Biden is now bringing back the world. This is, rank propaganda. You would expect it, but that was the statement I thought you'd like to know. All right, YouGov poll, 37% of Americans see a civil war coming. 1,000 U.S. adults, Democrat 33, Republican 24. That means the poll isn't legit. Here is the question: how likely do you think a civil war will occur in the USA in the next 10 years? Total likely 37, total not likely 40, not sure 19. There is not going to be a civil war. Okay, that's not going to happen. Now, low information voters might think it's going to happen. It will not happen. What there is going to be is severe anger. There will be violence. I said that in the message of the day on BillO'Reilly.com. Expect more violence at pro football and baseball games because it's going to happen, just like it happens in Europe at the soccer games, because people are frustrated, they're angry, they're resentful. That will happen, but shooting war, no. It's not going to happen, and that's that. Now, the reason that people are angry is politics and the culture. 2006, I wrote a book, Culture Warrior. It's amazing. I was looking at it last night, and almost everything I said in the book has come true. Now, my point of cultural change happened on August 17th, 2008. I pinpointed this when then candidate Barack Obama was talking to Pastor Rick Warren. Roll the tape.
Define marriage.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union. God's in the mix. I am not somebody who promotes same-sex marriage, but I do believe in civil unions.
All right, again, now it's 2008. 4 years later, running for re-election, Mr. Obama said this.
At a certain point, I've just concluded that, for me personally, it is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
All right, so a big change in 4 years, and that's the accelerator. So the gay marriage was the accelerator. And now, today, it's woke all over the place, startling. So the CEO of Disney, Bob Chapek, told a Hollywood Reporter, hey, we won our fight with the governor of Florida over Don't Say Gay law. You remember that, okay? So Ron DeSantis passed a law that said, look, you can't indoctrinate school children in Florida about LGBT or whatever, all of that. You can't do it, okay? So Chapek and Disney were on the other side. They wanted to indoctrinate the children, okay? If it was just about protecting gay kids, Disney would have gotten behind an anti-bullying law, which is really necessary, but we don't have it yet. But anyway, Chapek tells Hollywood Reporter, oh, we won, we're the woke people. And Chapek is so stupid, he doesn't understand. He alienated 50% of his potential customer base. I wouldn't do business with Disney. I don't know about you, but I'm not doing it. And I feel sorry for working people who want to take their kids down because the kids want to go. They don't know what's going on. And Disney's gouging them for every penny they can get. Prices are outrageous under this guy Chapek. Look, NFL, kneeling for the national anthem. All right? All the movie companies, if you are a white screenwriter or director, good luck. Even actors, good luck. Okay? This is now a woke age of equity where favoritism is given to certain groups, and Caucasians are not in that equity play. So that's where we are. All of this has happened in 14 years. If you are stuck in a timeshare and you haven't called Lone Star Transfer yet, what are you waiting for? Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 16,000 happy customers. They are family-owned, have a 99% success rate. Their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. I mean, does it get better than that? The team at Lone Star Transfer will keep you informed every step of the way until you are legally and permanently released from your timeshare. So don't pay another penny for a timeshare you don't use. Get peace of mind today with Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Give Lone Star Transfer a call for a free no-obligation consultation. 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at lonestartransfer.com. So joining us now from Arkansas, from Little Rock, is a guy who knows a lot about this, and you know him. Mike Huckabee is a former governor of Arkansas. His daughter is likely to be the next governor of the state. And Mike Huckabee does a program on the Trinity Broadcasting Network, Saturday and Sunday. You can see it there. So my analysis is basically the Obama marriage play was the turning point. Do you have another turning point?
I think that is exactly when it happened. And we've seen a steady drip, drip, drip of cultural change. But that's when the spigot was turned on full blast, and it was no longer just sort of a dribble out of the hose. It was a fire hose running at full strength. And from that point forward, the entire woke culture emphasis began to happen. And it started with the idea that we could abandon what has been traditional mores and standards, in this case, as it relates to marriage. Even Obama in '08, and I'm glad you played that clip because a lot of people may either have forgotten or may have never known that what he said in 2008 was really the attitude of the general American culture. And that
Sure.
is that you could allow civil unions. Nobody really had a big problem with that. But the idea that you would redefine marriage, and that was the issue, Bill. It wasn't saying people couldn't love who they wanted to love. That's the lie that's been told. This was a redefinition of a 5,000-year-old institution called marriage that had its roots in a Judeo-Christian biblical understanding of how our culture was to be created and how we created the next generation and reproduction. And all that we are as a civilization really came down to that notion that we had responsibility, one man, one woman, life partners, creating the next generation and training them to be our replacements. Well, when you throw that out the door and you say that no longer is the standard, it's whatever we feel, what we think, what we believe, that replaced the notion of objective truth with subjective truth. And we've gone to hell ever since.
Well, you know, the progressives don't believe in objective truth when it comes to any kind of religious judgment. But along with the marriage, you also had the life issue. So back in 2008, when Barack Obama first ran for president, he would never, no politician in this country could ever say, I believe in aborting the unborn up until the birth date. So if it's an hour before birth and the woman says, don't want it, you can't say in 2008, oh no, go ahead, kill the unborn an hour before the birth is to take place. That would have been extreme, and that would have eliminated any politician. Now, the progressive movement, that's firmly their belief system. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, on and on. That's their position. So that's even more horrifying to some of us than what happened in the other cultural issues.
I agree with that. And what is especially troubling, most of the people you just named are people who are part of the Catholic Church, who has been the most pro-life religious organization. In fact, I've often said, thank God for my Catholic brothers and sisters. They were way ahead of us evangelicals when it came to recognizing the value and intrinsic worth of every human being. They were pro-life before it became cool to be that way. And they did it because of a biblical understanding of the value of every human life. Nancy Pelosi is Catholic. Joe Biden is Catholic. And they didn't used to have radical positions on this. No one used to call this healthcare because there's nothing healthy about it. And it is the only aspect of healthcare in which at least one of the patients being treated is absolutely going to die because of the procedures that a doctor would use. So there's nothing that you can say. You can euphemistically call it what you want, but that's not healthcare. I think that Republicans are making a big mistake by being afraid to address it. And instead of pushing back on the radical views that the Democrats have taken, the one you just described, abortion up until the time of birth, we find ourselves trying to defend some of the strong positions of life, and we shouldn't take that.
No, it should be simplified down to this is why we believe what we believe, and if you really care about human rights, right? That's all the progressive movement is. Oh, it's human rights this, human rights that. Rights. Well, wait. You know, you have DNA on conception, scientific fact. There's the science. Yeah. Well, no human rights here? In most states, if a murderer kills a woman carrying a fetus, they're charged with the murder of the fetus. Okay? Yes. So how does that stack, Nancy Pelosi? But what I'm trying to get here, Governor, is that this is accelerated much, much quicker than I even thought when I wrote Culture Warrior in '06. This now is way out of control. You're the National Football League, the preeminent entertainment corporation in America, basically encouraging, at one point, people to kneel for the national anthem. And I mean, disparaging their country, Disney, we've already talked about. And the corporate media is firmly on the side of the woke. I mean, if you watched the Emmys last night, I didn't, but I saw clips, and very few people did. It was woke after woke after woke after woke. That's Hollywood. 100% woke. If you're not woke in Hollywood, you don't work. So this colossus, this movement, which I believe isn't supported by the majority of Americans, by the way, and I'm just praying for the backlash to come, although I'm not sure it will. But this colossus of progressive wokeism has now enveloped every part of our society.
The growth of this has been exponential. And a great way to remember it is this past weekend when we observed the anniversary of 9/11 and the horrific tragedy that befell over 3,000 of our fellow citizens who were murdered in cold blood by terrorists. I remember in the aftermath of that, nobody talked about America as a racist country, a evil country. We didn't see ourselves as horrible people that deserve that. In fact, everybody, I don't care what color, where they were on the economic scale, everybody in this country flew a flag. They were patriotic. They were defensive of our country and of our system and of our way of life. And what has happened in that 21 years? Well, these cultural changes have happened where people now believe that America, somewhere along the way, and I don't know how this would have happened in such a short time, we were a good country all through 2001, and then suddenly we became a horrible one. When did this happen? Was it with the change of marriage, the change of respect of the idea of life? It was all of those things. And now we have people who believe that we've always been an evil, systemically racist country, imperialistic, that we're horrible and bad. Bill, I refuse to believe that. This is a great country. My own life has been one. I came up poor. If I had just lived my life in most countries of the world, I'd be living a horrible life right now, and I'd be stuck where I was started. But I live in America. You and I both have had great opportunity. You came out of blue collar circumstances, and we both understand what great opportunities this country has afforded us and every other American who wanted to work for something.
Right. Now, is there any way to roll this situation back? Is there any way to bring the culture of America back to where it's rational? See, it's not rational anymore, particularly on college campuses. It's witch hunting, it's allegation, no due process. You better do what the progressives say. If you don't work, or you can't even function as a student. And that has drifted down into high schools and some grammar schools. Is there any way to roll this back when states like New York, where I am, California, Illinois, are pretty much gone? They're gone, okay? Can the country roll it back a bit?
I think it can. One of the reasons I believe that we may be seeing the beginning of it is that you have citizens who have just taken it up to their nose and they're sick of it. They're going to school board meetings and they know they're going to be called domestic terrorists for exercising nothing more than their own citizenship. But there's a growing sense of frustration where people recognize that the left has taken us too far. Bill, most of the people center right are polite people. They just want to live their lives and be left alone. They're really not wanting to engage in going and yelling at people who are sitting at a restaurant. They don't want to go up to someone who's trying to put gas in his or her car and yell and scream at them and tell them they're not fit to live. That's just not who most Americans are. But when pushed and when they start seeing the mutilation of 7- and 8-year-old children for some transgender nonsense, these same children that we don't think are old enough to decide what they're going to have for dinner, but we let them get surgically altered. We let their bodies be chemically castrated. You see young teenage girls as young as 12 and 13 who have their breasts removed, and boys who have their penises removed. They'll never be able to be how they were originally designed to be. And many of them in a few years start deeply regretting and resenting what has happened to them. But it's too late. And Americans are beginning to realize something's wrong here.
I think that there will be a flashback, a kickback in some states. But some states, they're gone. And that's the first time in history I mean, before the Civil War, yeah, we saw that. But since the Civil War, it really has been nothing like this. And I don't think most Americans understand the severity of this culture war. Now, the media is dissolving before our eyes, the corrupt corporate media. 5
They're
years
gone.
from now, Governor, it's going to be a cipher, all right? Which is why you do what you do, I do what I do. We're gone from that corporate media. I'm never, ever going back to it, all right? But there are certain sections of this country, although when I think about Sweden, and I'm going to do a report later on this week, Sweden was one of the most liberal countries on earth. Now it's becoming conservative. Maybe if it can happen in Sweden, it can happen here. Hey, Governor, always good to see you. Always a lively conversation. Thank you for helping us out very much.
My pleasure, Bill. Take care, my friend.
Recently, you've heard me talk about our new streaming partner, Vidgo. Vidgo is an exciting new streaming service that gives you the live sports and programming you want at a price you can afford. With Vidgo, I get all of my favorite live sports networks, including ESPN, Fox Sports, as well as an incredible access to college football, with 80% of every televised college football game in the first 3 weeks of September. 80%. Vidgo has great choice of news as well, and entertainment program, including The First, Newsmax, OAN, Fox News, and more. I've enjoyed Vidgo so much that I'm going to do a new weekly program called Shock and Awe exclusively on Vidgo. Each week we'll break down the most important issues of the week, asking bold questions and sitting down for exclusive interviews with America's top newsmakers. Vidgo gives you the freedom to be entertained at a price you can afford. Please go to vidgo.com/Bill to sign up now, and for a limited time, get Vidgo's premium service for $64.99. Here is the final thought of the day. As premium members, and we have thousands of them now, I get letters, personal letters, and a lot of them have to do with family interactions. So how do I handle this? How do I handle that? And my advice to the concierge members is private, personal, nobody knows, nobody will ever know. But there is a reoccurring theme that there are people in your family or close friends of yours who will not apply rational thought to politics. It's all about emotion. Okay, there's nothing you can do about that. Nothing. It's the human condition. We all know people who will never admit a mistake. We all know fanatics, okay? We all know people who do not live in the real world. There's nothing you can do. I mean, maybe you pay for their psychology bills, I don't know, but you're not going to convince them. So, don't try. Don't try. That doesn't mean you have to be a pansy. Can I say pansy anymore? I don't know. That doesn't mean you have to be wishy-washy. If they say something outrageous like Black Lives Matter is great, you say, well, tens of millions of dollars has been stolen by Black Lives Matter executives. That's it. Just state the fact. And then no more. And then go, what about those Mets? Okay? Because you don't want to develop acrimony with family members and friends unless you don't like them. If you want to get rid of them, then go, well. But I mean, look, nobody challenges me. I hate to be conceited, but everybody in my world knows what I know, which is a lot. So they're not going to come up and debate me. But a bunch of my friends, they won't get out of the Democratic Party thing, even if it hurts them. Even if it hurts them. They're staying loyal. I'm not going to try to convince them. Why do I want to waste my time on it? I'll grouse about it. I'll say things like, if you vote for Kathy Hochul as governor of New York, you're voting for more dead people in the poor neighborhoods. That's what you're voting for, because that's what's going to happen. And there's no doubt it will happen. So you cast a ballot for that woman in New York. You are saying more dead people in the poor neighborhoods, right on. Now, that's a blatantly offensive statement by me. I understand that, but it's true. But I'll only state it once. And then I'll talk about the Mets, which I like to talk about because the Mets are doing well. We'll be there tomorrow to watch the Mets versus Cubs. All right, that is the final thought of the day. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We will see you tomorrow. Inflation at its highest level in 40 years. Interest rates skyrocketing. We all know that. Market experts like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, not only predict a recession, but are using scary terms like economic hurricane and unprecedented. So, you need to call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Please call them today, and they will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. They have thousands of satisfied customers, are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Please call 866-501-5201, 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532.